They laughed at her before she even spoke. Not because she was guilty, not because she was lying, but because she was black, young, and alone. The judge smirked. The courtroom chuckled. And one careless comment turned into public humiliation. What no one in that room knew was that someone important was watching. Someone who would change the fate of everyone sitting there. Nia Johnson was 19 years old, a college student, quiet, hardworking. She stood in court that morning wearing a borrowed jacket and worn shoes. She had been accused of stealing a phone from a clothing store. Nia said she didn't steal anything. She said the alarm went off by mistake. But no one seemed interested in her side. The prosecutor spoke fast. The clerk avoided eye contact. And when the judge finally looked at her, his expression said everything. He leaned back and said, "Miss Johnson, do you even understand why you're here today?" The tone wasn't curious. It was mocking. Some people in the courtroom smiled. Others whispered. Nia swallowed hard. She nodded and said softly, "Yes, Your Honor." The judge sighed loudly. "Let me guess," he said. "You just forgot to pay? That story again?" A few people laughed. Nia felt her face burn. Her hands trembled, but she kept them still. "I didn't take anything," she said. "I have the receipt in my bag." The judge raised an eyebrow. "Oh, now we have receipts," he said sarcastically. "Well, that's impressive." More laughter. Nia looked around the courtroom. No one stood up for her. Not the guard, not the clerk, not even her public defender, who stared at the floor. The judge leaned forward. "Young lady," he said, "people like you need to learn responsibility early." Those words hit harder than any sentence. People like you. Nia's eyes filled with tears, but she didn't cry. She refused to give them that. What the judge didn't notice was a man sitting quietly in the back row, a man in a dark suit, calm, watching everything. Just as the judge was about to announce his decision, the man in the back stood up. "Your Honor," he said firmly. The courtroom froze. The judge frowned. "This is not your turn," he snapped. The man stepped forward. "With respect," he said, "I believe it is." He handed a card to the bailiff. The bailiff's face changed instantly. He whispered something to the judge. The judge's smile vanished. The man spoke clearly now. "My name is David Johnson," he said. "I'm a federal civil rights attorney." Murmurs filled the room. "And I've been observing this hearing because the defendant is my daughter." Silence. The judge's face turned pale. David continued, "And I've also been documenting the language, tone, and conduct used in this courtroom today." The judge tried to speak, but no words came out. David looked around the room. "My daughter provided her receipt to security the same day. The store confirmed no theft occurred." He paused. Yet she was mocked, humiliated, and judged before facts were heard. The courtroom was dead silent. The judge cleared his throat. "The charges are dismissed," he said quickly. Nia finally breathed, but David wasn't done. "Justice is not a joke," he said, "and dignity is not optional." Weeks later, the incident went under review. Court procedures were questioned. Training was ordered. And Nia? She walked out of that courtroom with her head high. She learned something powerful that day. That silence doesn't mean weakness, and dignity doesn't need permission. If this story moved you, remember, kindness and fairness still matter. Subscribe for more real stories about dignity, justice, and courage, because some voices are quiet, but they are never powerless.